The Washington Commanders lost more than just a game against the Green Bay Packers, as they are now down multiple starters due to season-ending injuries, including Austin Ekeler himself. Let's talk about it. I'm Josh Taylor with A to Z Sports Washington, and man, that was an ugly game, but we should be over it. I think the overreactions have kind of settled after what was a nightmare of a Thursday night game for the Commanders. But still, there is this lingering effect of this doom and gloom. You lost Dietrich Wise for the season. You lost Austin Ekeler for the season. How do the Commanders respond? Now, from a team standpoint, obviously you got to beat the Raiders, and then the mood can be lightened up again. But from a roster standpoint, obviously they had to bring in someone to fill in Austin Ekeler's role, which is not an easy role to replace at all, with what he does in the run game, what he brings in the receiving game as a big-time target for Jayden Daniels, and then also in special teams. But the team made their first move in signing veteran running back Chase Edmonds to the practice squad, which honestly should not be a surprise when you really take a look at it. Now, Edmonds actually had the best stretch of his career in his first 4 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals, and none other than Cliff Kingsbury himself. Edmonds was really a do-it-all running back for Cliff Kingsbury and the Cardinals, and he ran the ball 333 times for over 1,500 yards and had 9 touchdowns on the ground, but then also added just under 1,000 yards receiving and 5 more touchdowns in that span. Now, he didn't really have the same production once he left the Cardinals, and he was actually out last season with a knee injury. But when you take a look at his draft profile, who he was compared to coming into the league, it was none other than Austin Ekeler himself. So can he come in and really replace Austin Ekeler, who he was comped to? I think so. Will it be right away? Maybe, maybe not. It really depends on how fast he gets acclimated with the offense, which is pretty much the same offense he's already played with. You just obviously have a couple different things. You have different players you have no connection with. So he probably will start out on the practice squad and get some practice time in. But then who knows? Maybe he could be elevated to the active roster. But they already do have some answers to replace Ekeler. Now, of course, reports are already saying that Bill Krosky himself will be the running back one, as he should. It was more of a want of Bill Krosky getting more reps, and now it's turned into a need. You have to be the guy. You have to fill in for the run game that struggled against Green Bay. You had the second most rushing yards in the league week 1 against the Giants, but then the second week, it just completely disappeared. It seemed like Cliff didn't even really try to establish the run because he knew how good that Packers front 7 was. But for Krosky, can he fill in that void? I think so. Maybe not so much in that receiving game, maybe not so much in the pass protection game that you were getting from Austin Ekeler, but still, when it comes from a running standpoint, that home run ability, Krosky obviously has that. Now, of course, you do have Chris Rodriguez, who's been inactive the first 2 games this season. In my opinion, he should be called up to the active roster because he's also produced. He's a bigger body guy. I don't think he can do much in the receiving game, but nonetheless, he can also pick up some of those blitzes and help him pass pro and get you some solid runs in short situations. But I've also talked about a very intriguing rookie that the Commanders took off of the Jets practice squad a few weeks ago, and we really haven't heard anything about him, but Donovan Edwards. If you really want a receiving threat and really gives you what Austin Ekeler had, Donovan Edwards might be that guy. Yes, he has the speed, he has the burst that you look for in the running game as well, but if you want a guy who could be that dual threat running back in the backfield, I would love to see what Donovan Edwards has and see how he's really developing since he got here in Washington, even though it really hasn't been long. But maybe get acclimated with Jayden Daniels in the offense just a little bit more. But nonetheless, Adam Peters is always ready with signing Chase Edmonds, who is comped to Austin Ekeler when he was coming into the league, but they also had his best years with Cliff Kingsbury. You kind of need that emergency running back, and I think Edmonds could be that guy. But then you also have Bill Krosky who's going to be elevated into that new role. But maybe Chris Rodriguez can also take advantage of the opportunity and be involved in that running back committee that Washington is now down their biggest piece. But the bottom line is the Washington Commanders have to establish the run again and not go back to what they did against the Packers, let alone the second half of last season when a lot of that running pressure fell on Jayden Daniels, who's also dealing with the knee injury himself.